who says your name better? Is it me? Big Penix energy, or is it Desmond Howard? I don't know if you heard what he said on College Game Day, but I just want to know what you think.
Nah, man, you said my name right, so you say it better.
Yo, welcome to RG3 and The Ones, presented by Way Sports and Entertainment. I'm your host, Robert Griffin III, aka RG3. Some of you may know me as a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback at Baylor University. Others of you may know me as the Pro Bowl Rookie of the Year quarterback for the Washington Commanders. But I'm also the guy whose mistakes turned into touchdowns. That's right. And you might catch me every Monday this month wearing a pink suit on Monday Night Countdown for breast cancer awareness, because we want to make sure everybody is taken care of. Go get your screenings and make sure that you are completely healthy. And for us, we need you to subscribe to our page on YouTube and go download or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, because we're going to be dropping new episodes every single Thursday. And if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, all you got to do is follow us on our social media handles at RG3 and The Ones. Again, follow us at RG3 and The Ones so you can get the daily clips that we gonna be dropping to keep you excited about what's to come. But first, coming up on this episode, the one who will be joining me is the one that's got that big Penix energy. That's Michael Penix Jr. I'm so excited to have that conversation with him after his huge Heisman moment victory against the Oregon Ducks. But first, there's so many things that we got to get to that happened during week 6. Of course, the number one question on everybody's mind is the downfall of the undefeated. That's right. San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles both lost. I mean, listen, guys, it's football. But when you want to talk about being a top team in the league and losing a game that you're really not supposed to lose, I just feel like sometimes in the media, we spend way too much time talking about the team that lost. Like, what did the San Francisco 49ers do wrong in order to lose the game? What did the Philadelphia Eagles do wrong to lose to the Jets? And I'm going to take this time to focus really on the team that won. The Jets are 3-3 right now with their backup quarterback, Zach Wilson, leading the way, just like everybody thought they would be. No, not exactly. After the Jets lost their second game or third game, it was like, man, the sky is falling in New York. Aaron Rodgers is gone. The season is going to be a doomsday, a fest. And Robert Saleh just said, you know what? We're going to stick with Zach Wilson. He gives us the best chance to win. Zach Wilson's job as the starting quarterback now, but inherently as the backup before, is simply to take care of the football. And he did that in this game. He made enough throws down the stretch, and he got their best offensive weapon involved in Garrett Wilson. Something that we have been lacking throughout this year is those two being on the same page and being able to impact the game. And Zach Wilson figured that out. He got Wilson involved. They ended up winning the game. And I think for me, with the Jets, we don't ever show kickers love. Right. But Greg Zuerlein, he's made 9 kicks over the past 2 weeks. He's as big of a reason as the Jets being in the thick of this as anybody else. So shout out to the kicker for doing that. And when I look at both PJ Walker and I look at Zach Wilson, Zach protected the ball. And I think that's a big reason that the Jets had an opportunity to win with the way that their defense was playing. And it just makes it so much more understandable or mind-blowing that the Browns were able to win with PJ Walker hurting the team with those 2 interceptions. The Browns actually lost the turnover battle. And over the course of football history, teams that lose the turnover battle typically lose the game. I'm just going to say that the analytics are probably in the favor of the team that wins a turnover battle. So for the Browns to lose that, and their quarterback to not play that well at the position and still find a way to beat a San Francisco 49ers team that we have a liken to Marvel's Avengers is absolutely mind-blowing. So I got to tip my hat to the Cleveland Browns. I think they deserve the credit for what they're doing. And I tip my hat for sure to New York Jets because everyone thought they were a fish out of water when we saw Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles on that fourth play of the game in the season opener. And they fought and clawed their way, even without their two best corners, to be right there in playoff contention. So just an amazing coaching job by Kevin Stefanski for the Browns and obviously Robert Saleh for the Jets. But when you talk about backup QBs, right, at a point in my career, I was a backup quarterback. And I was the backup for Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson there in Baltimore. So everyone wonders, like, what is the life of a backup quarterback like? And I can tell you, it's like being a therapist, 1,000%. You got angry receivers because they're not getting the ball. You got angry running backs because they're not getting the ball. You got angry offensive linemen because the starter's not getting the ball out fast enough and he's putting stress on them to be able to have to block longer. You got angry coaches that are so fired up in the moment that on game days, more times than not, as the backup quarterback, you're the one that has to be that bridge between the starter and the coach. Because sometimes coaches get so worked up and they see things a certain way and they don't know how to approach the player in the heat of competition the right way. And that's why you see a lot of blow-ups on the sideline between coaches and players. We're all A-type personality people. So we all get a little bit of an attitude when things don't go our way or the way that we thought they should have. So for me as a quarterback in the room with Joe and Lamar, it was awkward. Let's just call it what it was. Joe is the Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Ravens, went on one of the most unbelievable postseason runs we've ever seen at the quarterback position to go win that Super Bowl. And Joe did it in a contract year. So not only do they win the Super Bowl, but he bet on himself and they won the Super Bowl. So since that moment, the Ravens have been struggling. Get into the postseason, having postseason success. So they drafted Lamar. They brought me in at first to be in that room with Joe, and then they drafted Lamar and really kept me there to help be a mentor for Lamar Jackson. And Joe, I'll tell you now, man, there's probably not many quarterbacks that throw a prettier ball than Joe Flacco. Being 6'6", big arm, country strong, went to Delaware. He could drop it in the bucket from 65 yards away. It was unbelievable. I haven't seen very many quarterbacks that can do that. But for him and Lamar, it was more of learn from my example. There's a viral clip that was going around in 2018. This is Lamar's rookie year. And it's me and Joe on the sideline coaching Lamar up about a certain throw and when to make that certain throw. And in that moment, I was doing what I normally do every single week with Lamar, talking about these different throws. Because I played in 6 offenses in 8 years in my NFL career. So I know almost every system in the NFL and had to learn them quickly. And the common denominator in every single system is the fact that how you throw certain balls is the same, whether you call it a 9 route, whether you call it a 7 route, or you call it a hook, or you call it a post. It doesn't matter. So that was my focus with Lamar. And in that moment, Joe jumped in and started teaching Lamar things there on the sideline. And I was like, oh, we're really going to go somewhere now, because that was like the first moment that our entire room was like on the same page of we got to help Lamar do everything that he needs to do to help us win games. And it's not about self in that moment. One of my greatest accomplishments as an NFL player wasn't us winning the division in 2012 or being rookie of the year or being a Pro Bowl QB. One of my biggest accomplishments was in 2019 when Lamar Jackson won MVP. And I got to be a part of that. Watch him grow from being a rookie to a second-year player, watching him go from being the guy that was, supposed to be the next guy to being the guy and just obliterating the league in 2019, winning the MVP, throwing for, I think, 36 touchdown passes. To be a part of that and watch his growth over that time period, I'm very, very proud of that, because I never had that in my quarterback room when I was the starting quarterback for the Commanders. I never had that type of support, a guy that had been through what I had been through, had played the game the way that I played the game, and could help me understand certain things at a better clip, faster, and to not repeat those same mistakes. Lamar got that. He got that from a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Joe Flacco, and he got that from a guy like myself who played the game the way that he played it from a dual threat perspective. Nobody plays the game like Lamar. He plays Lamar ball. But the ability to know when to use your legs, when to keep yourself safe, how to throw the ball at the NFL level, all those things I had been through, Joe had been through, and we were able to articulate that to Lamar in a very unique, special way with two guys in totally different areas. Joe was at the top, and it was going to be ending for him in Baltimore. I was at the very bottom and just building my career back up. And Lamar was right there at ground zero. And to be able to be a part of watching him go from people wanting him to play wide receiver, move to running back or return punts, to being one of the most dynamic forces at the quarterback position we've ever seen in NFL history. I take no credit for what he's done, but I certainly am proud to have been a part of it. Self-care and recovery is important, especially if you're an athlete. Or, if you're in your 30s and, hitting a little harder than you thought it would. And soaking in Dr. Till's to recharge your muscles helps to speed up your recovery so you can be at the top of your game. And we do mean in all aspects of life, people. So, of course, myself coming off of calling a game on Saturday, having to do all the studying Sunday, doing Monday night countdown on Mondays. I just have to get back. And before I come on this show on Tuesdays, just soak in the tub, try to recharge myself so that we can have a great time together in this safe space. And of course, sometimes you got to just run that bath for wifey as well. When she's, chasing the kids, all four of them, little rascals around all day. I'm telling you, some of that Dr. Till's, pour it in that tub. Get it all nice and hot for her. She will thank you later. No doubt about it. It's time to work hard to recover just like the pros do. Grab Dr. Till's Epsom salt soaps today and elevate your game. Let's go. This week's episode of RG3 and The Ones is sponsored by True Classic Tees. I'm a big stepper when it comes to the fashion game, so I gotta, put you guys on a little bit. True Classic completely changed the game on how t-shirts fit, creating a looser fit in the gut and tighter fit around your shoulders. The fabric feels like butter. I mean, you get not butter with an ER, but butter with an A, and makes for a comfortable base layer on chilly days. Because, you don't want to just look good, but you also want to feel good. Their new comfort jeans are my go-to though. They've got that classic look with the four-way stretch, tapered just right, a bit of a stretch in all the right places. Whether I'm, keeping it casual or popping out on the red carpet, these jeans come in a range of colors to fit any mood or occasion. But seriously, whatever you choose, you can't go wrong with True Classic. All their clothing is designed to be versatile and work with your lifestyle so you can look and feel your best all damn day. In fact, True Classic is so committed to their products, they even have a 100% risk-free guarantee and easy returns because they know you're not going to send it back once you see how fire you look in them. So make sure you shop now at trueclassictees.com/RG3. And for 25% off, use code RG3. Again, go shop now at trueclassictees.com/RG3. And for 25% off, use code RG3 and get yourself swagged out. All right, now let's get to our guest conversation. And that means it's the one and only Big Penix Energy. Yeah, baby, we talk about Michael Penix Jr. He's your Heisman frontrunner right now. And I always say he's a lefty, but he throws it just right. So I want to welcome him to the show. The man of the hour, Michael Penix Jr. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. And we saw each other earlier in the year. Got a chance to call your Boise State game. Of course, you balled out. And at that point in time, I had also said that you guys had the best receiving core in the nation. And I thought that you were already at the top of the Heisman list. But before we get into some more of that, you got to tell me, bro, who says your name better? Is it me or is it Desmond Howard? I don't know if you heard Desmond and what he said on College Game Day, but I just want to know what you think.
Nah, man, you said my name right, so you say it better. he said my name wrong, but it's all good.
Listen, I don't know what was worse, the fact that he said your name wrong, which was bad, or his rhythm. Like
I thought, he made a song out of it.
I thought Dez had a little better rhythm than that. You know what I'm saying? Watching him do all the Heisman stuff, I'm like, come on, man. But hey, let's just say I'm sure he got a tap on the shoulder about that little ordeal. But how do you feel? I asked you this before, but just for everybody at home to know, how do you feel about the Big Penix Energy nickname?
Yeah, man, it's cool to me, as long as it's like not out of like disrespect.
Right.
It's always like about that with my name. Like I understand I got a unique name, but
right.
As long as it's respect behind it and it's nobody disrespecting my name and what I stand for, then it's cool.
Yeah. So when you talk about that, I know that you've actually used, that nickname and that slogan in like an NIL type of way. How cool has that been for you to be able to indulge in that type of stuff now?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The NIL world is crazy, but it's cool. It's cool to be able to do that, and man, appreciate you.
We talked about this before. It was last year during you guys' game. I believe it was against Michigan State. We came into the game, and I was telling the whole crew, I'm like, "Yo, man, I've been watching tape. Michael Penix Jr. is the real deal. Like he is that guy. He can make every single throw on the field." They're kind of looking at me like, all right, man, whatever. We get in the middle of the game. I promise you, it was like a couple minutes before halftime, and my producer got in my ear and he said, "You were right about Michael Penix Jr. This guy needs a nickname." I'm like, man, what's the nickname going to be? I don't know. What can I come up with? And like on the spot, I just said, Big Penix Energy. And it took off from there. But I thought it was really cool to see you be able to use that in NIL and do a bunch of other things with it. Is there anything else that you're doing in NIL that everybody should know about?
As far as NIL, not too much, but I am doing some stuff like as far as like within the community. I partner with working with Mary's Place. It's a place downtown in Seattle that feed homeless families and give them shelter and somewhere to stay in. I've been a part of that, and I've done collabs with other people to push that organization and show my support and show my, that I see it. I see the movement and see what they're doing for these families and helping them in a positive way.
Wow, man.
So part of it is me getting tickets. So I get four tickets for a family, so they can come see a game and give them food vouchers and stuff like that, and just so they can have that experience,
Oh, man, that's awesome to be able to use NIL in a way to give back. You're just adding more and more ammunition and more fuel to people to continue to root for you, man. When you think about like your first couple of years in college compared to now with all the changes, is that probably the best thing about NIL for you, is the ability to give back in a way that's impactful?
Yeah, for sure. For me, because, I've had people that would give back to me as well, growing up. And, I see like when I got out to Seattle, I seen like the amount of homeless people were here, downtown and stuff like that. And, it was hard to see. So it was just giving back is just always that's something that's been in my blood. My dad, he was always somebody that gave back and, poured into the community. And, I just want to follow those footsteps.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And, you talk about giving back and this game. I know it means a lot to you, having a chance to talk to you a couple times, to call the games and then just following your story, man. Like you've just been a fun story to follow along with. When you look at what the game has done for you and what you've actually been through in the game, does that make you have a greater appreciation for the position that you're in now?
Yeah, for sure. It's a much greater appreciation, just going through all the things I've been through, for anybody, that's nothing that anybody wants or want to say that, oh, I want to go through this. But,
Right.
I know that everything happened for a reason, and battles come with scars. And
Yep.
For me, I knew I had to continue to bounce back because I had people that was looking up to me, like my little brothers, and it was bigger than myself. So it was always in my mind that I was going to bounce back and come back and give my all.
No doubt about it. So to get into that a little bit, it actually surprised me that you actually initially committed to Tennessee coming out of high school.
Right.
And then you ended up going to Indiana. So before we talk about Indiana, what happened there with the commitment in Tennessee?
Yeah, so I was committed to Tennessee for like almost 2 years now. Not now, but back then, but for like almost 2 years. And it was crazy. It was like a couple weeks before signing day, it was new coaching staff came in and they're like, they had a guy that they wanted already before. So, they basically took away my offer. And, the way I landed at Indiana was because Coach Nick Sheridan and Mike DeBoer was at Tennessee when I originally committed there.
Okay.
And they were at Indiana, so that's how I got there. But the Tennessee thing was crazy.
No, I mean, Tennessee, they they definitely missed out on an opportunity to have a player like yourself. I'm sure they were happy with Hendon Hooker last year. But just imagine you in that system, you'd probably be doing the same thing that you're doing right now with Kalen DeBoer there in Washington. But you're the first freshman at Indiana to start the opening game since Antoine Randall L. in 1998. Just talk a little bit about that process and what it was like getting on campus and kind of, putting your best foot forward right away to get that starting job.
So actually, it was my redshirt freshman year.
Okay.
But still technically a freshman.
Right.
But yeah, so my true freshman year, I didn't start. There's a guy ahead of me. Just developing and stuff like that.
Right.
for myself, and I ended up getting injured that year. In 2018, which was my true freshman year.
Right.
But then getting some work in the off season. Being able to get back healthy again. I was able to compete and won the starting job, but like I said, it took a lot of hard work. And
right.
Coming from an ACL injury, I couldn't really do spring or as much stuff as I wanted to. And I had a new OC come in that year, Coach DeBoer. I was just coming off an injury, and he's installing a new playbook and spring ball. But I'm not really out there to get the reps, but just trying to take as much mental reps as possible. So whenever my opportunity did come, I was able to go out there and shine.
Yeah. So we talked about this before, but one of the craziest parts of your story is that those 4 years at Indiana, every single one of them ended with a season ending injury, right?
Yeah.
Drastic. Yeah. I think it was 2 ACLs, shoulder injury, and two shoulder injuries. So it's like for you to keep coming back each time, and learning new systems and learning new players, but always putting yourself in position to be the guy again. Like, what was the driving force during that time to keep you just coming back after all those injuries?
And number one is God. Obviously, him being there in my life all the time, and I'm always, talking to him, in those hard times. But it was rough. But for me to be able to come back, I knew it took a lot of determination and will, and but I always say my wives, my little brothers, one of the reasons why I came back and always was able to, come back even stronger, because I'm thinking about, how they going to look at their big brother, and I want them to see me as an overachiever and somebody that's going to, persevere through any type of hardship. So, I knew I couldn't give up on myself, even though, it was times where it did get hard, but I was always able to push through, and I'm just blessed.
Us quarterbacks, we study, right? We do our homework. And I read a story where you were talking about, you were going through these tough times at Indiana, and your roommate would leave before the games in 2021. And I don't want to tell a story. I want you to share what you're willing to share, but just to dive deeper into some of those things that were going on, things that you may have been questioning about yourself through those injury and that injury process, if you don't mind.
I was really still trying to find myself, in a way, because I always saw myself as just football guy,
Right.
Football was my life. And, I had to realize that, I'm more than just a football player. I have a purpose, on this earth other than that, and,
Right.
One of them is to serve people. And that's what I was trying to do as much as I could all throughout my journey. And, but just understanding that, I just had to, continue to find what was, there to always drive me. And it was
Right.
my family for the most part. But, it was a lot. It was a lot that went into it. It's crazy.
Yeah, you talk about it, and I know just for myself when it came to those injuries, and a lot of players struggle with this, whether they want to admit it or not, but like finding your identity outside of the game, because everything we've ever done has been tied to how many yards you throw for, how many touchdowns did you score,
Right.
did you win lead the game winning drive in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And when that's all taken away from you, whether it's injury or, guys in the NFL, when it's retirement or whatever happens, finding that identity afterwards is hard. What did you use to try to bridge that gap during the times when you couldn't play, also knowing that you weren't going to give up?
Man, just support, support around me. And to even dive in deeper into that last question, a part that, not too many people knew, it was like, the part with me when I was talking about my roommate leaving game day, and I was just having moments in my room, by myself, crying to God. It was tough for me 2021 because a lot of people don't know. Like I came in, that was the year after my second ACL tear, and coming into the season, my doctor, he was telling me that everything was good. Like it was up to me on how I felt if I wanted to play. And literally like a week, no, the Monday of the first game of the season, man, the doctor calls and he's basically telling me like, for him, he hasn't cleared me and he feels like, I should probably take some time. But it was conversation before where, I thought I was ready, and, but so it was a lot of things that was going through my head at the same time. So it was like real hard for me. And, just hearing that information that little time, I'm a competitor, and like, I'm like, either way, like I'm playing, like I feel good. So
right.
I felt good. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go play. But deep down, it was like, I remember what he said, and I was like, yeah, if I get injured again, it was going to be real tough on me. So, I had a lot of thoughts that I was battling at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, right? Tore my ACL twice, same knee, broke my ankle, also broke my shoulder. And it's like when I read that story, I'm like, and I hear you talk about it today, I'm like, man, I've been there, man. Like, you feel like you're doing everything right. You cold tubbing, you getting all your reps in the weight room, you doing your homework. And for whatever reason, something just goes wrong out of nowhere. I tell people that all the time, like the amount of work football players put into something is no different than the work that people are putting into their normal lives. And sometimes it's just not your moment at that certain time.
Right.
But it could help you later on in life to be the best. Right. For me right now, it's in the media. All that hard work I put in and not quitting when I was a player has made me a better analyst. All the work that you put in at Indiana has made you a better football player now that you're healthy playing at Washington. For you, that COVID year has now allowed you to come back for a sixth year at Washington. How did you use that time to help to continue to develop your game?
Yeah, just the off season was crazy. Like I said, this was 2022 off season was so. In 2022, from January to the season, that was my first off season since I was a freshman. So, that season I was able to get the most done since I was a freshman. In the off season, as far as taking care of my body and staying on top of stuff like that. So, coming into 2022 season, I felt very fresh, like the most fresh I felt, in a while. So, being able to have the off season, I feel like it definitely helped me get better with my strength and conditioning and stuff like that. And, I feel like it definitely changed. But as far as COVID, like, yeah, giving me that extra year, allowing me to be here this year, it definitely is a blessing, and to have all my teammates come back as well. It's good as well.
Yeah, no, talk about that. Because I know when we called the game for you guys at Boise, talking to Coach DeBoer, talking to the offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, it was like, hey, Mike coming back is why Rome came back. It's why a bunch of our other guys came back to really not just chase championships, but have a championship mindset. Because you guys, you helped turn this team around. With your teammates, of course, but you guys went from 4-8 the previous year to 11-2. But the number one thing you guys said is we didn't win any championships, right? We didn't win the Pac-12. We weren't in the running for the college football playoff at that time. So why do you think it is that you came back, and how special was it for you to see all your guys come back with you?
Yeah, that's definitely a reason. And, also for me, I feel like, I just wanted another year to develop in the offense with these guys as well. Understanding that, we was all going to be coming back, just giving all us opportunity to, increase our level of play and increase our IQ in the game, so it was definitely a positive and a win-win in every way. But, and I just feel like it was just something that we always felt was right. And like you said, not winning no championship last year, 11-2 was good, but yeah, we had goals at the beginning of the year, and I was winning the Pac-12 and all that. So it's like we didn't truly achieve what we wanted to, but just to have another opportunity to do that, we wanted to come back and work for it.
One thing that you just sparked in my head was something that was mentioned during that broadcast of the game for Washington Boise State. You brought up to us in the meeting that you all came back and now you guys were able to continue to build upon what you did last year. And I kind of described it like, if you know the play, right, and the receiver knows what he's supposed to run, that was last year. Well, this year, it's like you both know the play, but the receiver now isn't really focused on the route that he's running. Yeah. He's focused on the defense. He's focused on, hey, how's Mike going to see this? Because I've had 1,000 repetitions at this play with him, and I can kind of get in the quarterback's head. Talk about that process with your wideouts, especially in a system that's as, I would say, option and choice based as you guys have there at Washington.
Yeah, man, it just help us play more fluent, and just have a better understanding of the field and the game, and the way you explained it was perfect, and another thing I'll say is, just as far as play calling, as well, understanding situations and sequences, in the game and stuff like that. I feel like, I probably had an understanding of that last year, more than some of the other guys, because I've been in the offense and, I've seen all these plays against all these different coverages. So, I was kind of ahead in that stance. But, for those guys being their first year and how well they did and picked up on the offense, it was amazing. But, I knew that it was another level that we could get to based on, understanding why Coach Grubb is calling the play, based on the down and distance, in the situation that we're in, and I feel like the guys have been doing an amazing job with that this year, and it's allowing us to play a lot smoother and a lot faster, I feel like.
Yeah, I try to tell people all the time, like, knowing what your coach is going to call before he calls that play is an advantage as a quarterback, because you honestly feel like you just aced the test, right? It's 3rd and 5. I'm coming to the line or going to the huddle. I already know what he's going to call. He calls it. I'm like, I was already on that. It makes you more confident as a QB when you go into the huddle, go to the line of scrimmage, and do all those things. But a big reason you were able to be that last year and kind of carry that over into this year with all the success you guys are having is because of the transfer portal. Yeah. So, like, what is your feeling as a guy that's still in college about the transfer portal and what it has become based off your own experience?
Yeah, from my experience, it's amazing. It changed my life, in plenty of ways. But, it's something that's meant for the player. And I feel like, when it comes to the transfer portal, I don't feel like people in the outside world should be able to judge or, feel like somebody is doing something wrong because they wanted to leave, their situation, because people don't really understand, what they're going through and the reason why they did it, so I feel like it's definitely a good thing, and, it helped a lot of people across the country. You see a lot of guys like, we talk about all the Pac-12 quarterbacks this year, I believe almost everyone, except for the freshmen that's starting across the Pac-12, every one of us are transfers, so it's definitely helped a lot. A lot of people, find their home and, be able to, increase their abilities on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. And talking about that conversation for you specifically with Coach DeBoer, I said this last year that he's a coach that I would love to play for. What was it about him that made you feel comfortable going from Indiana all the way to the West Coast to go play at UW? The
way he helped me prepare. I feel like my preparation was, out the roofs, and, it was just like every time I went up to the ball, before the snap, I already knew, like, I pretty much already knew where the ball was going to go, based on, what look I got from the defense, and just to be able to prepare that to that much and allow you to go out there and play fast like that, I feel like it's something that I wanted to, have again. So I had to come.
So, I mean, continuing that conversation you just brought up about the Pac-12 QBs, for you as a guy that is in the Pac-12, I know it's only 2 years for you, but to see the conference disband pretty much, what's your feelings about that and about UW going to the Big Ten?
I feel like, I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest, as far as, what went into it and stuff like that, that's not something for me to judge on that side of it. But, I feel like it's an opportunity, and to allow us to be able to play these other teams, teams that, you see a lot, winning a lot of football games, in the Big Ten. And that competition level is amazing. I feel like it's going to be something great. And I always say I know the dogs will be ready. So, I won't be there. But, but the guys, they're definitely super excited for it. I know that. But I know the one thing they talk about is the traveling. That's it, though.
The travel is crazy, man. That's going to be some long flights. So you telling me you can't come back for a 7th year? You can't. They're not going to find another year for you somewhere in there? Listen, I talked to Coach DeBoer about that. I really did. And he said, I wish I could get him back for another year. But, I really do believe, with what you're doing, and I know you're going to continue to stay focused. You're going to be a top 10 pick, man. And your decision to come back was certainly the right one because you want to show that you can stay healthy. I know you've said that before, but also to just do what you're doing with your teammates. I think you guys have the best receiving core in the country. It starts with Rome Odunze. And what is it about Rome that makes him rise to the occasion when he's the man in the arena and it's his opportunity to make those plays? What is it about him that makes him so special?
Man, it's just the person he is and his work habits. He's the same guy every day. And, you got somebody like that, it's somebody that you can trust and somebody that's going to be right there by your side through every step of the way. So he's a guy that comes in practice and he's going to give 100% effort every play, and he shows that he wants to be great each and every day, and that allows him to showcase that on the field so everybody else can see. But we see it every day.
All right, Mike, you ever thought about dyeing your hair blonde like Rome?
I ain't doing that.
I mean, he's had a couple different ones. I don't know. Has he only been blonde while you've been there at UW?
Yeah, I think he was red before I got there.
Exactly. You talk about him being, basically approaching the game the right way. How does that rub off on the other guys? Because it's not just him. You got Jalen Polk, you got Jalen McMillan, you got Jeremy Bernard, you got Giles Jackson that just came back. What do each one of those guys do extremely well?
Man, it's all of them. They compete with each other each and every day, and they push each other. Every rep. They're always pushing each other. If somebody not doing something right, somebody's going to say something, and they're going to push and challenge each other. And and those guys truly love each other in that room. And you got a whole room full of unselfish guys. Guys that don't care who get the credit, who don't care who scores or not, get the ball. So it's like, you see somebody that a room that's like that and as talented as they are, the sky's the limit.
No doubt about it. You must be licking your chops every time you go to the line of scrimmage with them dogs out there with you, especially in man coverage. Talk to the people at home about that. When you see man coverage on really any guy on your team that you feel like, hey, this is a matchup we need to attack this week, what goes through your head?
I'm throwing it. I'm throwing it. Don't do it.
Oh, my gosh. We always called it one-on-none. All right. One-on-one coverage is one-on-none. You should feel disrespected as a wide receiver if anybody thinks they can cover you one-on-one. Now, let's go ahead and get to the conversation about this game, man. Unbelievable Heisman moment for you. I know that you don't pay attention too much to everything that's going on the outside, but I've been singing your praises and your team's praises since last year. But to watch what you guys did against Oregon, to see you go 22 for 37 for 302 yards and 4 touchdowns, the way you did it, I mean, we're talking about the Pac-12 not being there anymore after this year. It's those types of performances that make you wonder, wow, are we going to get these in the future, even though I know you'll continue to play against Oregon, or should I say UW, will continue to play against Oregon. But just what's your overall thoughts about the game that you want to share?
Man, it was amazing, and it was just, so much that went into, that week, and also, having a bye week as well, just understanding that we were going to have a tough game ahead of us, and we knew that we were going to have to execute, the whole game, and we couldn't let up at all. And, we feel like, to be honest, we feel like in the third quarter we had a stretch where, we weren't able to move the ball, and we feel like we were making a lot of, self-inflicted, mistakes, and it caused us to, be closer in that game than what we would want to. But, they're a good football team, and they're going to make plays. So it was a long game, tough game, but the whole way we knew that we had what it took to come out with a win.
What was going through your mind when you saw Oregon go for it on fourth down instead of punting it and pitting you guys deep?
Man, I was like, that's crazy. It's crazy, but, I don't know. But I appreciate them for that. And our defense, just knowing that we had that fourth down, we knew that the defense was going to be able to get off the field and, get us the ball back in. That's what we was preaching up and down the sidelines the whole time. Like, be ready. We got another opportunity coming, and we got to go out and make the best of it. And we knew that we had what it took. So, to see them go forward and the defense make that huge stop, we knew that, we had that chance, so we had to go take it.
Without a doubt. So then are you manifesting it in that moment, or is that just like, this is my space, I'm with my guys, I'm comfortable, and just all parts of you are coming out?
No, I feel like it was just in the moment, just with my guys, and just, no fear, no worry about, what was going to happen, just trusting in our defense. And, like I said, that's an everyday thing for us. So it's like, I get in those situations, or, the rest of the team, we know that, we got what it takes. So it's nothing for us to be tense or anything about, because we done it before. And I guess I was just loose. I was just ready to go back out.
Oh, you were definitely loose. And like, for me, as a quarterback who's been in moments like that, I understand it. 2011 back corner touchdown to Terrence Williams against Oklahoma to win the game. Like, I remember that moment like it's the back of my hand. I think this is a moment that you will remember for the rest of your playing days. But to most people at home who don't get to experience that, they don't understand how you can remain cool, calm, and collected in that environment. What is it about you and what you've been through that helped you stay calm in that moment?
Man, I just always say it's the same game I've been playing since I was 5 years old, and, I just understand that, and understand, it's football at the end of the day. Somebody got to win, somebody got to lose, but, I just knew that I was going to do whatever I could to make sure my team came out with a win. So it's just football, and, I don't really feel pressure, in no moments. I don't really get nervous and stuff like that. It's just another day. It's something that I've been doing all my life. So it's go out there and perform.
And in 2 throws, you pretty much win the game. Like, talk to me about that 35-yard seam throw. And then we'll get to the last play. But just what did you see on that play that lets you know, all right, he's going to be open right down the seam, I got to hit him?
It was like a double move with our number 2 guy. And our number 3 guy was running like an out-breaking route. So they're in like I'll say a quarters look, kind of a quarters look. And the safety, I saw him with eyes on number 3. And when number 3 broke out, he started to break on number 3 until he saw me throw the ball. And he saw me start to throw the ball, and he saw a guy starting to run by him. So he tried to recover, but at that time it was too late. Like, he wasn't going to be able to track the ball. So as soon as I saw him flinch and step down to number 3, running the out route, it was just no hesitation, just trusting my guy with the ball in the air.
Beautiful throw, by the way. Like, you threaded the needle all the time with the way you throw the football. And I've noticed that on tape. You tend to be ahead of the defense so that they can't react. Like, even if he thought the number 3 was going to run the out, it was like, you're already too late, buddy. Yeah. I already know where I'm going with this. But then I heard little birdie told me that you actually checked the next play with the touchdown pass to Rome Odunze on the back shoulder. Is that true?
In a way.
Okay.
So the play that we called, we was actually trying to get the ball out to the right, just hoping we got numbers to the field. But, once I saw the one-on-one and the safety, I knew that a safety wanted to try to help over the guy, but he was trying to disguise too much and just sitting on the hash too long. And, with that action going to the field, I knew that I had one-on-one backside, so I just gave him a fade. I just gave him a fade route, and we just made it happen. And the safety, he was too late to help his guy. So
yeah, he was trying to. Hey, listen, man, you disguise. You got to make sure you get over there.
Yeah,
but it was that throw is like, I don't want to say it's your signature throw, because I think you have all the throws. I think they're all signature throws for you. And I'm not just saying that to you. I say it to everybody that talks to me about you. But the back shoulder is something that you were just like, man, you know when to throw it, you know how to throw it, you know where to put it at. What makes you, what is the decision-making process there for you when it comes to just the simple back shoulder fade?
It's just reps. I'm not going to say the whole decision-making process of, how I want to throw it.
I got you. Can't give away any secrets.
Can't give out too much information, but, a lot of them been back shoulder, but I can put it over the shoulder, so don't try to, double play me. So, so it's like just repetition, just reps. Every time we get one-on-ones, we get red zone stuff, and we just throwing fades, against our DBs, and, just working that with each other, for the defense and for us as well. And, just getting that timing down, getting that rhythm down. So whenever we get to the game, I know where to put the ball.
I have to tell this one story from last year. One of your running backs who has one of the greatest, names, in my opinion, Wayne Twalapapa, you threw him a back shoulder against Michigan State.
Yeah.
And when I saw you, it was like a heat-seeking missile. He had no choice but to catch it. Yeah. That's how hard you threw the football. But what shocked me, or what really rose to the front of my brain was, that's a running back.
Yeah.
You threw that back shoulder to a running back perfectly. And I know Twalapapa's got good hands, but for you, is it you trust the guys around you, it seems, but you trust them even more because you have a ultra confidence that you can be accurate with the football. Where does that come from?
That's reps as well, because even on that play, I knew that he wasn't going to give me odds until, he got to 15 yards. And, I threw it right before he got to 15 yards. So when he got there, he was going to get his eyes back and see it, but just being in my rhythm and just being comfortable in the game, he was actually on that play, he was my third or fourth read on that play. So, just being able to get through my reads and see the defense and just understanding where we're all going to be at. And that's, like I said, that's something that's built more over this year as well, as far as us being in the second year. But, Wayne is a talented player, and he was a guy that did everything right, to be honest. And he pushed himself, and, everybody pushed each other as well. So he made a big time catch.
I like it. So let's talk about some players that you maybe model your game after. Like, who were the guys that you watched as you were growing up in this game that you I really like this guy. I want to study him and figure out what I can add to my own game from him.
Growing up, it was like Mike Vick. When I was a kid, he was a guy that everybody watched. And, he was a guy that made all those big-time plays on the field. I always say Mike Vick. But he was like one of the main guys, had the Mike Vick cleats. Had those until they didn't fit no more. But as far as growing up, as I got older, it was nobody I really modeled my game after. I watched guys all across, and I was just a fan of football. And for me, I was a guy that was outside, so I probably was outside more than I really watched football. I feel like I started watching football more whenever I got to around the high school level. Never had a favorite team, never had a favorite player.
Really? Okay, I
just like football.
That's interesting, because I know you grew up in Tampa, right? You went to Tampa Technical High, which is kind of funny because you're one of the best technical quarterbacks in college football right now. But so you weren't a Bucs fan, and you have no NFL allegiances. So really, you're a blank slate. I mean, that should improve your draft stock. I'm just saying, and, just reading up on your story, just want to give you an opportunity to just talk about how impactful mom and dad have been for you in your life. And I heard there was 22 family members at the game, this Oregon game. Talk about just your mom and dad and just how influential they've been for you in this journey.
Yeah, man, their support is, endless, and it's crazy. They've been supporting me and the whole family, all my life, and they've always been there, for our games and, try their best to make it to every game for us. And, it's support that, it's unconditional love. And, to have that, I'm truly blessed. And, I thank and appreciate them so much for it.
No, I mean, it's beautifully said. I just want all the parents out there that are listening to understand that how you support your kids and the things that they want to do has life-changing impact on them. And clearly your mom and dad have had a life-changing impact on you, and you've had a life-changing, and I say life-changing, and I don't mean that by hyperbole, but you've had a life-changing impact on Washington and really anyone that's been around you. Like we talked about before, you helped Washington go from 4-8 to 11-2 last year. This year, so far, what you've done this season, putting yourself in the driver's seat for the Heisman, obviously putting your team in the position to go win a Pac-12 championship and be in the college football playoff race. I'm a firm believer that NIL has changed the game, and you mentioned it, allowing you to give back. But it's also the name, image, and likeness of the players that add to the value of the schools. It's no longer just, I don't think it ever was, but I think there was a perception that the school was the one that was providing the value. For you, you've seen all the stuff about players getting paid, whether it be through NCAA, whether it be through NIL, or from the television networks. Do you think that players should get a piece of the pie of the TV money that these networks are giving out to the conferences?
Man, as much money as the players can get, I'm for it. I feel like the guys, just understanding what we go through each and every day, the off-season grind, and, to be able to perform for, just 12 guaranteed games, it's a lot that we put into it, year round. So, I feel like we do a lot, and we definitely, it's definitely a blessing that we're able to get that NIL money. And, it sucks that it didn't come earlier, for some guys like you, man. You would have been big dog, Heisman, so it's like, but it's something that has been talked about a lot for a long time. But, I feel like it's definitely good. But as far as the TV money, I really don't have no judge in it, but as much money as the players can get, based on what they deserve and what people truly from their heart, feel like and understand that they deserve, I feel like it's necessary.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. And you mentioned it earlier. You said like the travel that players have to deal with. Yeah. Once your former teammates have to go to the Big Ten and travel across the country, weeks at a time to go play these away games, I really do feel like it's going to impact the mental health of student athletes. And you know this from everything you went through there at Indiana, everything you went through even before with Tennessee pulling the offer. Like the amount of things that student athletes have to deal with, not just from class, but from sports, from some call it like the politicalness of like when they're playing or whatever's going on, constantly knowing that there's somebody else coming from behind to replace them. All those stresses are happening at the same time. And now we're just increasing that by having the athletes have to travel more. But I'll make this statement, and I appreciate you answering the question because I think it's impactful coming from a guy in your position that's still playing in college football. But I think that whatever TV network decides to cut the players in and give them a portion of that TV revenue will not only change college football forever, but I think they'll own it. Because now all the players are going to want to go play at that conference, right? If it's the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC or whatever it may be, ESPN, go ahead and start trying to get those negotiations with the players and cut them in on those TV deals, because then you're going to get an influx of players understanding that this is the network that understands we are the brand. It's not the colleges that are the brand. It's the players. The players make the brand more valuable. And you've certainly done that at Washington.
Yeah, man. Like, what helped you get through your stuff? You asked me about my injury. What helped you?
Same answer, to be quite honest. God. A lot of people don't remember this, Mike, but I tore my ACL in 2009 at Baylor for the first time. But because I wasn't quite a household name, people forgot it. Well, I had the same experience you did. I'm sitting there, I'm crying on the ground, asking God, like, why me?
Yeah.
And we all have that moment. Like, it's okay to have that moment. It's about what you do afterwards that truly matters. But I had 2 weeks of it, bro. 2 weeks of sitting there saying, why me? Like I said, doing everything that I was supposed to do, studying film, running, lifting, being respectful to my parents, right? Honor their mother and father.
Right.
And it just gave out. Knee gave out. And when you say what got me through it, it was after that 2 weeks. I didn't love football before that injury in 2009. Watching my teammates go to practice, laughing, giggling, you know how it is as they're going out and about to go have a good time, right? It makes you miss everything that you were a part of. So I made a decision after those 2 weeks that I wasn't going to be the reason that I wasn't successful. I wasn't going to be the reason that I couldn't come back. And I knew that God had put it in my life for me to overcome this challenge because there was something greater ahead. Now, I didn't know that that greater ahead was a Heisman Trophy 2 years later. But if I had never had those injuries, I would have never appreciated the game the way that I did after the injury. So I'm very thankful to God, very thankful to my parents for helping guide me through that and helping me stay strong. Because I'll tell you, man, I was watching the game after the game, two things after the game, right? One was your speech that you gave to Holly Rowe. Man, that blew me away. Because it's like in your biggest moment of the season, all you were prepared to talk about was how thankful to God you were and how thankful you were for your teammates and how thankful you were for your family. I know that that was natural for you, but man, you nailed it. You truly nailed that interview and brought people in that moment to understand exactly what was going on in your mind. And the second thing was I saw the prayer warriors on the sideline, man. Yeah. Hey, man, I don't know who it was that was hugging. I think it was mom and them, but I could feel the prayer and the energy coming from that moment. Just how much did that mean to you as a player to have your family there and to experience that with them?
Yeah, man, it meant a lot. And I knew that once we won that game, I knew my grandma and my mom, they was running down somewhere. So, I was trying to find them. I knew they was going they found me. But, it was amazing, to have that many fans and, families there, to support us in one of the biggest moments, of Husky Nation, so it's like, it was amazing to be a part of, and it was an amazing day all around.
No doubt. So I can't leave here until we talk about this next week, right? So now you guys are moving forward to go up against Arizona State. Mm-hmm. I believe they're 1-5. You guys are coming off a huge emotional win against one of the other powerhouse teams in the Pac-12. And now you're going into this game, which many people would say is a trap game for you, right? You don't want to have a letdown. You don't want to decrease the intensity that which you guys play. So what's your message for your team this week going up against Arizona State?
Just treating every game the same, and just going out there and dominating and be ready to dominate. And it started on Monday, practice and, make sure we come in with that attitude and that same mindset that we did last week or the week before, just making sure that we attacking each and every game with the same mentality, understanding that, greatness takes growth. And, we can't be the same team that we were this past weekend. So it's like we got to make sure that we continue to keep those steps and, have that 1-0 mentality.
I love the way you say that because I agree with you. You can't approach any other team as if they're not, a team that you got to go run through, which is exactly what you guys how you approach the game against Oregon. Now, you guys, I think you're on a 13-game winning streak. So let's go ahead and keep that winning streak rolling with these rapid fire questions. So first question is, what is football math?
What is football math? If you got 3 receivers and it's 2 guys over there, you might want to work that side.
That's the truth. You gotta have numbers, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have numbers to one side or not. Who are your top 3 rappers right now?
Right now, SCY Jim. That's who I'm telling you about. Kodak, my all-time number 1. So he got to still be a top 3.
Florida boy, I hear you.
But as of right now, I give him 2, and then Rod Wave.
Rod Wave, okay.
First thing I get on the bus, I always got to give God the glory. So that's going to be, I'm going to listen to a gospel song first. While the gospel song playing, I'll pray. And then as I wrap up my prayer, I'm like, Lord, forgive me for my sins. Because, I know that I'm going to sin again. I'm not perfect. And I know that I'm about to turn on some wild music right after. So it's like, forgive me for this. But, I'm always coming to you first. So.
Who is winning a fight? You or the kangaroo that's been going viral online, who hemmed up the dog? Have you seen that video yet?
Yeah, I seen that.
Bruh.
I'm going to give it to that kangaroo.
You go give it to the kangaroo.
Man, you ever seen they muscles? Them kangaroos rip. Them kangaroos strong.
And then the last one. For you, who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
You got to put Pat Mahomes in there.
Pat Mahomes, number 1. Easy.
Exactly.
Right? Number 1.
I'm gonna say Allen.
Okay.
Lamar.
Ooh, beast.
Oh yeah, you have to put 2 in there.
Lefty. Right now, he's balling. Just want to say to you, man, appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you really diving into the things that you've gone through to get to this point. And I know for a fact that you're going to continue to go out the rest of the year and do big things. Have a great time. And I know the listeners to the podcast are going to truly enjoy this conversation and be rooting for you for the rest of the year, my guy. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
HelloFresh is more than just dinners. You can also stock your fridge with easy breakfasts, quick lunches, and fresh snacks. Because, your body is a temple and you don't want to look like a snack. You want to eat good snacks too. Just shop at HelloFresh Market and add any of these tasty, time-saving solutions to your weekly box. The weekly box. When you get HelloFresh, you know you're getting top-notch produce since it travels from the farm to your door in less than 7 days. Go to HelloFresh.com/50RG3 and use code 50RG3 for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. What? Listen, go to HelloFresh.com/50RG3 and use that code 50RG3 for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. I mean, you can't kick that deal. Come on, go get it. This episode of RG3 and The Ones is sponsored by BetterHelp. To be one of one, you got to make sure you're staying on top of your mental health and getting the help you need to keep on changing the game. Your mental health is important and it should be a priority. So with BetterHelp, it has professionals and it's affordable and it's convenient. But not only that, it's effective. BetterHelp offers you therapy that is convenient from a large range of licensed therapists. And all you have to do is pay a low, flat fee for your sessions. Like many athletes, you may find yourself always on the go. And BetterHelp's mission is to make sure anyone can get the help they need anytime, anywhere. Go get the help you need to become the best version of yourself with BetterHelp by going to betterhelp.com/RG3 and you can get started today. But you'll also receive 10% off your first month of therapy. Once again, go get the help that you need to become the best version of yourself. You are worth it. And with BetterHelp, you can go to betterhelp.com/RG3 and get started today. You will also receive that 10% off your first month of therapy. Wow, what an incredible conversation that was with Mr. Michael Penix Jr., a.k.a. Mr. Big Penix Energy himself. Want to thank him for coming on RG3 and The Ones. But now, I want to tell you guys a little story. The life of a backup quarterback in the NFL. I mentioned how it's like being a therapist. I got 2 quick stories for you. One is about being a therapist. So we had Michael Crabtree, legendary wide receiver. We brought him in, brought in John Brown. We called him Smokey to be, our 1-2 punch at the wide receiver spot with Joe Flacco. And then eventually Lamar Jackson was going to be that guy that took it over. And Crabtree was a guy that was always used to a ton of targets, right? A volume target guy. This is the same dude that, got into it with, I believe, was it Aqib Talib? And he got into it with Richard Sherman. Just just an A-type personality, throw me the football type of receiver. Now, I had the blessing of watching Crabtree not only in high school, but also in college. He went to Texas Tech. We played against Tech, and Crabtree actually caught like a back shoulder fade. And I was like standing on the sideline because like when you played Michael Crabtree in college as an offensive guy, you also wanted to watch what he was doing on the field. So I was like front and center watching Michael Crabtree go to work. He catches his back shoulder fade right in front of me, spins, catches it at the high point, gets his tiptoes in, tiptoeing in his Jordans on the sideline. And he gets up and he looks at me and he says, "Yeah, young fella, I'm that guy." And I'm like, you are that guy. Now, he embarrassed us that day. I don't know exactly how many receiving yards he had, but he was a very tough cover. So when Crabtree came to Baltimore, I got to Baltimore at the same time. We're talking about all these like moments and memories. And at one point, Crabtree just wasn't getting the targets that he wanted from the receiver spot. And it was understandable. They paid him a bunch of money to come in there. And this is supposed to be his next opportunity to get, more money and make more plays and continue his illustrious career. So Crabtree actually had we play basketball every day after practice. Now, I love basketball. For all my high school people out there, I was a freshman starting on varsity on the basketball team. I got offers from Florida, from Baylor, from Kansas to play basketball coming out of high school. And, Crabtree was a dominant baller as well. So we had many, horse, pig type competitions in the gym. And it was my way and his way of being able to process everything that was going on for him at that spot. Now, it didn't work out there in Baltimore for Crabtree. But what I'm trying to explain is that that's the job of a backup quarterback, to do those types of things that may seem a little out of the ordinary or outside the box. That's your job, to keep the team together, keep the team in line so that there are no holes in the team's relationship. You fill those holes. You don't separate them and become a cancer on your team. You have to be the guy that's bringing everyone back together. And I took pride in that. Sometimes that means that they're going to ask you to do something that you're not used to doing. So I believe it was 2019 when Lamar was going on to win the unanimous MVP award. They asked me to play a little bit of receiver. I was playing the zebra receiver spot, which is the adjuster in the formation. You got your X, your Z, and then that zebra F position guy that can move everywhere. And they just had me motion across the formation, fake a jet sweep to me as a decoy to go ahead and get the first down with either a quarterback sneak or a quick handoff to the running back. And when they asked me to do it, I'm like, sure, why not? I'd love to do it. It's fun. So I ended up doing that, didn't get the ball, but that sparked something inside of me, right? So after that play, I believe we came up with a formation with Lamar, myself, and Mark Ingram, and we called it the Heisman formation. And it was basically a triple option with 3 Heisman winners in the backfield, something that I don't think had ever been done before in NFL history. So I'm sitting there. I haven't been an option running back since like high school sophomore year when I was the backup quarterback on varsity at Copperas Cove High School, by the way. Shout out Copperas Cove. So Lamar, fakes the dive to Mark Ingram. And when he boots out, I'm like, wow, this guy is fast. We had done conditioning drills and people always ask me, hey, who's faster, you or Lamar? And I'm telling you right now, I am faster than Lamar. He is quicker, though, much quicker. 0 to 100, he gets to his top speed faster. He's got much more wiggle than I did. But just long running, whether it's a 40, 60, 100, I'm the overall faster guy. And of course, he will deny that. But what true competitor wouldn't? So Lamar takes off on this zone read triple option. After the dive isn't there, he makes the right read and he goes. And for years, my own teammates would tell me, Rob, you got to slow down on the speed option because we can't stay in pitch relationship because you're running so fast. And I never took them seriously because I just felt like, It's your job to stay in pitch relation. You got to get on your high horse and start rolling. Well, I definitely understood what they meant because when Lamar took off, he took off like a bat out of hell. And I was hauling ass trying to catch him, just running. And then he did the craziest thing, guys. He actually pitched the ball to me. So as Lamar's pitching the ball and falling down, I'm running as fast as I can. And I just kind of scoop through it, skate out of bounds for about an 8 or 9 yard gain, positive play. That's all we needed to happen for the Heisman formation to actually work. And I'm thinking to myself, we have got ourselves something special cooking here. I'm talking Madden, put it on the Madden game. It was all over social media, popping up all over the place. Oh, they got the Heisman set. They got the Heisman formation. And then we never ran it again. Greg Roman, I gave him multiple plays after that to build off of this Heisman set and to incorporate this and get these 3 dynamic guys on the field all at the same time. And he didn't run it anymore. That's a wrap for episode 5 of RG3 and The Ones. Just want to say thank you to Michael Penix Jr. for joining us on the show. Thank you guys for listening. And make sure you subscribe to RG3 and The Ones YouTube channel so you can see all the new episodes that we have available. And of course, you gotta make sure that you follow us on our social media handles at RG3 and The Ones because we're gonna be dropping those clips like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Every single day to get you excited about what's to come. So like I said, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, listen and subscribe wherever else you get your podcasts. And I just have to say for all the people at home, this would not be possible if it wasn't for my people at Wave Sports and Entertainment in partnership with Whispering Oaks Productions. All my producers, thank you guys for doing all the work that you do behind the scenes to make RG3 and The Ones possible. We love you guys, and this wouldn't be possible without you. Appreciate you. See you next week. Peace.